Hi, welcome back, guys. So today we are going to do nutrient analysis. This is basically me in the lab analyzing for nutrients in the water, seawater basically. So what happened is we collect water on a daily basis from the ocean, from a certain sampling point that we have, and we bring the samples to the lab, and then we start with the nutrients analysis. And as you can see in the video, I use powder pillows, which are my reagents to analyze for this nutrient. And there are 4 types of nutrients that I analyze. It's nitrate, phosphorus, sulfide, and silica. They all play a very important role in the water, basically for the marine organisms, and so they are needed, just like how we have our vitamins, vitamin B, vitamin A, and all those. So they are also very necessary for the organisms in the water. And for us, we basically want to know what type of nutrients and their occurrences and their values, how much of that we have, or what type we have, what occurs the highest. And most of the times our nutrients would tell us as well whenever we have a bloom of phytoplankton. And at the end of the video, you'll be able to see a few of the pictures of phytoplankton species that I found in the water today, and it was quite a rich sample. So we call that a bloom when we have a lot of multiple of organisms, or rather species of phytoplankton in the water. Sometimes we can have one type of species, but it's like so a lot, that can also be referred to as a bloom. A few are toxic, but most of them that we have are non-toxic, and these are obviously important for the shellfish that we monitor, basically the oysters that you guys love so much. And so when there is a bloom, we are kind of like excited because number one, it's food for the oysters, and number two, it's quite interesting because some species one have not really seen in a very long time. So when you see these things, you feel like there's a lot happening, and there's actually reproduction going on in the ocean, and they still live in the ocean. So, and during winter here in Namibia, we experience high level of upwelling. So upwelling is, in simple terms, is basically the movement of water from deep down, and it brings the nutrients to the surface levels in the water column. So it's one of the richest upwelling cells that we have in the world. There are only 4, and ours is also one of the richest. That's why we really have quite good fish. And those who live at the coast will be able to say we do have fish in our water, a variety of fish in our water. And if you have been to other parts of the world and have seen some of the oceans, they look beautiful, the water is clean, but there isn't really much fishing going on, because there is not enough nutrients in the water for these fish to grow and all that. So that's the beauty of creation. Some have, some don't have. So this is just me trying to. So with the nutrients, they all have timers. according to their own reagents. So basically put the reagents in the different samples, and then you wait for whatever time is allocated to that, and then you analyze and see what you have. So when you put in, if a certain nutrient is in that sample, then the color will change accordingly. Like for example, with nitrate it changes to pink, with phosphorus it changes to blue, with silica it's just supposed to be clear, and as well as with sulfide it changes to clear with time after it has settled well. And they also have a time, for example with phosphorus is quite sensitive. You quickly have to put the powder into the container, quickly close it, shake it vigorously, but not so vigorously also, because it will become too blue. Then it will look like there is so much phosphate in the water. So it's like you have to maneuver it properly so that it doesn't become too blue. And also if the time is up, it needs to be analyzed, otherwise reaction will start happening and it will look like there is so much phosphate. And the good thing about the machine is that it doesn't go beyond a certain level. If it does, it will say so, and it will give like a warning in big red letters that it's over the measuring level. So it's like it's set to what is expected in the water, for example in the seawater. For other waters, it's for example water for consumption, and which is the potable water, and water at, for example, treatment plants. Both are fresh water and water from the rivers. They will give different readings, and they also use different reagents. But then for seawater, we only focus on the seawater, and we also get different results. But it's quite interesting because as the blooms go high, certain nutrients also show that there is an increase in nutrients. So there is abundance of food to other organisms and all that. And it's actually a very interesting process to do. And with nowadays technology, it's quite simpler. When you have to do it manually, like before we got this machine, other people used to use just different methods where level of contamination is so high, it's time consuming. One needs to redo it if you just miss a step, or if you just a small drop of different water can already contaminate the sample. It needs to be treated with care, not unlike me who's not even using gloves. The older way, one really needs to use gloves, and yeah, it was just time consuming. And the results, once you don't get the results that you want, you need to redo it again, and it will take like the whole day basically. Whilst for this one, the highest time for one of the nutrients is like 15 minutes of waiting. So you just wait for it to process, to settle, whatever, for 15 minutes. So in 30 minutes, you can be done with analyzing for 4 nutrients. Whilst the olden method, it's a whole day for the whole 4 nutrients. So yeah, cheers to technology, definitely. So and then also in the video you will see the how the powder pillows are scattered all over. And and then while I was waiting, I just had to quickly go and clean up those ones that I was finished with already, clean them up and just let them to air dry. And yeah, so with the machine, so it has its own timer. It already has the specific nutrients inside, so you just press what type of nutrient you are gonna test for, and then it reads the readings. And you'll see that when it's not that specific nutrient, it will give you very funny recordings. For example, if it normally just gives you a single number, maybe 0.5, 1, 0.2 and all that, and then all of a sudden it's giving you 10, then something is wrong, because some of them are very constant. Like for example, nitrate, you will find it at 0.02. I think the highest was maybe 0.09. I think that was the highest ever. So if it gives you, let's say 2, 3, then something is definitely wrong with your sample, and you have to redo it. And the good thing is the colors would also show you that this is not the one that you're supposed to put in or to add onto the water, or that's not what you're supposed to be reading. So yeah, that's it with the nutrient analysis. It's basically interesting, and like I said in my previous videos, doing marine science, it's a very interesting, underrated career. One really gets to experience so much. One really gets to know so much with what's going on with the ocean, what's going on with our marine system, what is being done inside our laboratories and all that. So a lot is really done, and there are obviously different departments. I'm in the mariculture department, which is very interesting because we do the monitoring of the water quality around the growing out areas, which is like the oyster farm, the abalone farm, and we are just excited. Any new farm that is coming up literally excites us, because that's like the mariculture industry it's booming, it's growing, and it's really exciting because you get to see that our water is actually really good with this kind of stuff. Those, not all species will thrive well in our water, because our water is extremely cold, and some species are warm water species. For example, prawns. We cannot have prawn farms here unless they are maybe on land near the ocean, because our water is extremely cold for the prawns, and they love warm water, which is, it can even be 30 degrees Celsius. So they will not really thrive that much. And so yeah, but it's really interesting to know what is happening. And currently we just have oysters and abalone that is being farmed, and hopefully we will have other species also being farmed with. But otherwise it's still very interesting, and even to see what is in our water without the naked eye, because the microscope really tells you that water is not as clean as it looks, because with the naked eye it looks nice and transparent and all that. But then in the microscope, it's like there's all these debris, all this phytoplankton stuff. You would even see with the pictures that it's that they are some of them are even in chains. You feel like if I can drink this, it can even get stuck on my throat, And so and the one thing about aquaculture also is that I live in the southern part of the coastal area, so, and it's extremely windy here. So one would think aquaculture is not possible because it's too windy, so the waves are stronger and they are higher, so they will destroy people's structures when they want to farm. But actually people have good anchoring mechanisms, and their structures are really, really well anchored, and the rough waves are actually good, especially for shellfish, because they help with the shell strengthening, and like for the oyster, it has the upper shell and the bottom shell. So as the waves are high, the weaker ones break off, and then the stronger ones, they survive. So it helps with the refining of the structure and the building of the structure, basically breaking off the weak ones, the softer ones, and that way it keeps on growing and growing, and also the nutrients, obviously. And like I said previously, the upwelling system. So when the waves are so rough like that, they actually go deep in and comes back up with more nutrients, which is feed for the organisms. So it's actually a very interesting and broad topic, but it's actually good. So thank you guys for watching, for tuning in, and I'll see you guys next time.